Creatives tend to express common motivations for making art, communicating ideas, expressing emotions, telling stories, yet many shy away from the seemingly simplest reason. But New York-based designer Sara Blake says proudly, "I've always just made art that had no meaning really. It was just for the visceral pleasure of making something. For me, therein lies her intrigue." I was initially drawn to Blake not because of her own artwork, but the artwork she's covered in. Beginning at age 18, as she filled in nearly her entire body with tattoos, she felt her exterior match her interior. Rather than telling a story, her tattoos serve a decorative purpose. I admire her consistent regard of art as an aesthetic pleasure over an intellectual pleasure, because sometimes that's all it needs to be. Blake was raised in Richmond, Virginia, but attended an all-girls school that stifled her interests. Instead, her father fostered her artistry, encouraging outdoor exploration where she found early inspiration collecting bugs. She recounts that even in childhood, creating for a living felt like an existential thing. "I don't know that I really exist unless I'm making something physical with my hands," she mused. Blake went on to pursue a unique dual degree from NYU's Gallatin School of Individualized Study in creative writing and studio art. Her focus at the time was almost entirely in drawing, as she described her college-age self as a terrible painter, a contrived photographer, and an equally crappy sculptor. Even so, she did not yet have an established style in drawing either. Following graduation, Blake only created personal works on the side, focusing mainly on her work for advertising and design agencies. She began her career scanning and retouching models as tear sheets for Engine 3, which she described as high-production, uncreative work. She also worked for Hudson Union and freelance graphic design projects. Blake accumulated international acclaim in the design industry during this time period. She was named one of the top 100 female graphic designers and illustrators in the world by Curvy magazine, and her work graced magazines, fashion pages, and products for companies including The New Yorker, IBM, Bacardi, Ford, Warner Bros., Marvel Entertainment, and TEDx Labs. Her breakthrough contract, however, came with Nike. Working on a series of basketball portraits, Sara's traditionally feminine style was challenged. Each mural, especially those featuring LeBron James and Kobe Bryant, underwent at least 17 rounds of refinement. Despite the project demanding realism, Blake strategically incorporated stylized abstraction into the work. But industry work wasn't Sara's passion, and she found fulfillment in personal initiatives such as her 100 Girls project. The origin of her current style and the entirety of this project are the same, a throwaway portrait of her sister. She recounts, "The line art just felt natural. From then on, I just captured that feeling. That's how my style happened. It was sort of improvised." It started with 10 portraits of girls for a show. It became a goal of 100 when Blake realized she enjoyed reducing her work to one subject matter to focus on pattern and texture. It was an exercise to get herself to practice mass creative production. I would like to note, however, that this project seems to have been left unfinished. In 2007, Blake founded Zo, spelled Z-S-O. She named it such due to the letters' aesthetic and phonetic cohesion. She adds that she likes that the Z and S form an upside-down heart, while the O represents everything coming full circle. Lacking a distinct style, Blake used Zo to house all her illustration experiments. In the last 17 years, her and her style have developed tremendously, but she continues to add to the site, taglining the company, portraits, animals, and a little psychedelic fun. So, what is her art style now? Blake describes her art to be multidisciplinary and of a hybrid process, blending traditional and digital methods. She initially draws everything by hand and then scans it into her computer to add layers of color and line work. Blake feels no need to keep this design technique a secret, though. On the platform Skillshare, she has published a course teaching others to develop their illustration work, walking them through transforming hand-drawn sketches, paintings, and drawings into more complex pieces in Photoshop through a 3-phase course. Blake's portfolio contains a plethora of collaborations with other artists, the most personal of which was with her original muse, her sister, Emily Blake. Titled Sacred's Treehouse, Sara produced prints based on Emily's music, and the two published a video detailing their creative process. She also created work with renowned designer Joshua Davis. Following a spontaneous email and studio meeting, she sent him images of sea life with which he employed sine wave oscillations to create pieces of intricate coral and scaly dragon forms. Their creative partnership endured for years after this. A more recent partnership of Blake's is Studio 9, founded in 2023 alongside architect Mile Vorovic. Despite coming from different fields and generations, they are combining their expertise to create architectural residential projects, as well as custom art and furniture. In December 2022, Blake published a novel combining art, prose, and poetry. The Rosalind Letters follows a young woman who receives a series of clues in the form of haunting dreams and is described to simultaneously be a crime mystery and a coming-of-age story of loss. So, where's she now? Alongside the progression of her career has come the rise of social media, and Blake has turned to Instagram to provide updates on her artistic and literary ventures. On her personal account, she posts about her studio space and pictures she takes around New York, each captioned with a haiku she wrote. Sara continues to exhibit and speak about her independent work globally at contemporary art institutions, conferences, and galleries. She is currently focusing on painting as part of her ongoing analog creative practice. Additionally, on February 11th of this year, she announced on a newly created Instagram account that she has new work arriving in 2024. My name is Gayatri Kamtala, and this was my summary of Sara Blake's creative life and career. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at the above email address or just leave them in your reflection for me to answer. Lastly, I want to thank you all for your time and attention.